The African Union says it's trying to prevent conflicts before they happen rather than respond after they erupt. The organization is focusing on an early warning system based in Addis Ababa. CGTN's Coletta Wanjohi spoke to Fred Ngoga, the AU's head of conflict prevention, about the monitoring center.
Overall, I would say that the early warning system has worked. There's not a single conflict situation, at least as I know, where I have not seen a report from the analysts warning that there is a problem. The fact of the matter is that most of the countries who go through these problems, you see a build-up. You see a build-up, be it by looking at indicators such as the human rights indicators, by looking at the economy, whether the economy is growing and creating enough jobs, or it's just growing and not what they call the jobless economy. So, or whether a country has a history of violence altogether. You know, usually you see that build up. So it is quite easy to predict whether or not a conflict is going to erupt. The issue is the appropriate response that needs to be given.
So what is the AU doing to tighten the gap between the early warning and early response?
I just had my briefing in January where I gave an outline of potential threats. Our Commissioner for Peace and Security has what he calls a monthly breakfast with members of the Peace and Security Council, briefing them about potential threats. But most importantly, we have developed what we call the Continental Structural Prevention Framework, which has two pillars. One is we assist our member states to assess their own structural vulnerability assessment and resilience, because it's important to look at the resilience as well. And then the second part is to assist our member states to mitigate against the potential vulnerabilities there. The other thing that we do, which is very important, is a focus on national peace infrastructure, because ultimately the number one responsible in terms of responding to a conflict is the member states first. So we've been working with our member states, establishing their own national early warning system, strengthening the offices of their own ombudsmans, in the case where they have an ombudsman. So there is a lot we're doing.
Do you have plans to strengthen or improve the current monitoring system for the early warning mechanism? There
is constantly room for improvement. One of the things that we're doing, for instance, is working with the United Nations, for instance, the Office of in charge of preventing mass atrocities and genocide. We are working on establishing some indicators that can guide us in terms of seeing potential mass atrocities. We are working with our different organizations within the AU, for instance, on issues of climate change, to be able to have clear guidelines. Still with the UN as well, we're working on indicators on human rights violations, But we're also working with others on economic indicators, because those are some of the things that can guide you to have a sense of where things are heading.